As the sun starts to form and the peak of the great mountain is a glowing knife in the sky, a warm breeze passes through the immense grassy valley. The village itself, although small, is absolutely bustling with life. Food merchants pull their carts through the small dusty streets. Men and women swarm in the markets as the vast array of smells combine together. The sound of the children's laughter bounces off the small wooden houses as they play in the garden. And a light grey smoke softly soils the air as the blacksmiths hammer away at their forges. Although young and in his late teens, Finn is strong for his age. Most of the time, sawdust and small pieces of wood litter his shaggy brown hair as he works away as a carpenter in his father's workshop. It may be simple, but it's a good life.
As I wake, the sun is beating down on me. Nothing that can weigh me down. All the hope around plays like a melody, bouncing through the rooms of my heart. When the light starts to fade, the stars will find me. We stand upon a dream, a place for us to see all the hope that's shining through the dark days. A land of yesterday is there to light the way to a brighter place. You just have to believe we are the dreamers. Although times can test
Suddenly, the ground starts to violently shake, causing items to fall off the market stalls and crash to the ground, and a fierce orange glow illuminates the entire village. Balls of fire rip through the sky and tear into the earth. Villages and houses are being incinerated all around. This only meant one thing. The Everbane were back, and this time they were hungry for war. Once he was able to gather his thoughts away from the terror, Finn searched his head for ideas. He remembered about an old ancient temple deep in the mountains that his father once told him about. It was said that the temple had a secret crypt located underneath it, and placed in an altar was an ancient weapon that would gift the user with unspeakable power. Finn had no idea if this was true, but it's all he had, and he needed to save his village from this monstrous threat. Finn gathered his things and slipped off into the dark mountains unnoticed. At first, the dirt path was easy to follow, with small patches of green grass littering either side and dense overgrowth clinging to the mountain slopes. But as Finn walked further, the terrain became extremely difficult to pass, with gigantic shards of rock tearing through a thick, dense fog that made it almost impossible to see. A blue glow then started to bleed through the fog, and all of a sudden, the dark pass opened to a massive clearing. And there it was, the ancient temple. The structure was thousands of years old and littered with a vast array of deadly terrain and vicious traps. Could Finn make it through? And even if he did, would the ancient weapon even be there at all? A trap. But Finn was just about fast enough to clear himself from the closing walls. He was safe. As Finn grabbed the handle of the sword, he felt an immense power surge through his body, as he started to lift off the ground. Suddenly, a flash of bright light illuminated the entire temple as Finn's body became plated with shining golden armor. When Finn opened his eyes, his feet were back on the ground, and his eyes shone with a piercing blue glow. The weapon had worked. It had changed him, and he was ready. When Finn returned to the town, life as he knew it had completely changed. The sky had been scorched and shone a bright blood red. Any trees or plants that had lived before were now but a withered carcass. It was a small portion of hell. The day began to darken and a great firestorm ripped through the atmosphere. Then suddenly a deafening roar burst through the sky as the clouds began to part. Two burning orange eyes began to emerge from the thick black clouds. The figure began to reveal itself as it moved closer and closer. This was no ordinary creature. Its fur was dark as the night, and its veins throbbed with a fierce, fiery glow. Then Finn finally noticed. Riding the beast was the evil Emperor himself, sword in hand and scowling down at the young boy. But despite the terror, Finn could feel the almighty power pulsing through his veins. The beast's wings suddenly clapped furiously as it began to dive. As he unsheathed his almighty sword, he closed his visor and braced. This was it. Swipe from the beast caught Finn in the side and sliced through his armor. As Finn fell to the floor, the glow began to fade from his eyes. As the Emperor let out a victorious, savage laugh, the beast suddenly let out an almighty cry of fear. In the chaos and confusion, the Emperor fell from the beast and hit the floor. As he raised his head, he saw Finn picking himself up. His eyes no longer wore the blue glow like before, but they shone with a different light, a light of his own. Was over, and the sun began to dissolve the Everbane troops. He mounted his winged companion and set off into the sky. As the sun started to form and the peak of the great mountain was just a glowing knife in the sky, a warm breeze passes through the immense grassy valley. It was time to go home.